Ooh.
Hello, welcome to CarCast. I'm Matt, the moderator, Deandra, here with Bill Goldberg. See, you've changed
Oh, well,
locations up in the loft.
not only am I in the gym, but I am coming to you as the Hunchback of Notre Dame. I had
Yeah,
a
little
little
stiff.
episode of my neck last night, and it's continuing on today. Today, so as opposed to being in my chair downstairs, I'm on the most comfortable couch I think I can be on right now, and I'm
Yeah,
mending. I'm mending. So
mending. So and we're getting to that point. We were just talking off there about how like wake up with injuries from no idea how we got them. It's just getting to that age where you're like, I can't move my back, I can't move my neck. Like
three
what's
days
going
ago, 3 days ago in the evening, my neck just started bothering me, right? And I did nothing prior. I mean, I've been training back in the gym, but I mean, I didn't like do 15 neck sets or anything. I didn't do anything out of the ordinary. And then the next night, sure as shit, when it got dark, my neck started bothering me again. And then when I woke up yesterday morning, it was like somebody had electrocuted me, and it's awesome. Yeah,
it you
so
know it's
so
bad, like
feeling
because
good right.
now you could start to feel it coming on. Like if you're
Oh
even when
yeah,
you're working out and you're like, God, I gotta feel a little something in my bicep. And then your initial reaction goes, it's not that bad. I'll just finish the set, finish working it. And then you're going, I should have never done that. I knew I felt it coming on and I'm gonna start feeling it now. Am I tearing? Am I pulling, tearing? And then I'm like, now, gosh dang it, it's gonna be 5 weeks of or
yes.
more now.
Not to change the subject, but we
Yeah.
got Meekum going on as we're speaking right
Yeah.
now, and they got a 90 Testarossa going for 100 grand with the reserve off. Now, to you, does that not sound cheaper than shit?
It is, but Testarossas were changing hands at about 100 grand not that long ago, and
Right?
we're here, on a Wednesday morning. So again,
Yeah.
it's just with these live auctions, it's really about the timing as well. You want that prime time slot, and for Meekum to put a Testarossa up on midday on a Wednesday.
Well,
eh,
let's just say that they're changing their tune, because not only was the Testarossa, but prior to that was a 6 pack 70 Cuda, and now we've got now we got a 9 liter freaking 17 Viper GTC ACR Extreme going for over 200 grand.
yeah,
So I think they're changing their strategy.
I think so too. They're trying to put a couple of ringer cars in the earlier days. Now, the six pack car
Smarter.
might not have been a full matching numbers car. That there might have been
Oh yeah. Yeah,
some
there's
mods or
no way
something.
that was a fully numbers matching car.
Yeah,
Four 6 pack 70 purple Cuda plum crazy. There's no way that thing had to be.
right. The Testarossa sounds about on par. It might be on the low end, but again, it could be a higher mile car or something. But the Viper sounds about right. Like to get
260
that.
now.
Yeah, now they're
260.
getting money for it. Yeah.
So it's amazing, and it's lot number 175. So yeah, it looks as if Meekum is changing their tune a little bit, and I believe that that's really a smart way to go. I mean, I really do, because it gets the big hitters there at the beginning of the auction. You can throw things along the way to satiate people and to excite people, but I think this is a good move. I mean, it's just me, but
I when I was sitting with Adam Carolla and a Paul Newman Porsche came up earlier in the week at Mecum, and I don't even remember where it was, Pennsylvania, Florida, or something like that. And uh, we were literally just we knew we wanted it. We had arranged it all ahead of time, but when it came down to it, it's like we just went for a walk in the neighborhood, sat down at the coffee shop, streamed it live, and I was just on the phone. I was just on the phone with them and was like, here's the bid. And he ended up getting it. He got it on the phone. But you're right. It's just, it wasn't the phone bidding and online bidding makes it all so easier now. And we kind of knew what we were getting into with this car. It was a racing car. There's only one of them. It was kind of a one-off thing. It was a Porsche. It was a Paul Newman Porsche. And it is what it is. Like there's not a lot. We didn't have to do a lot of inspection on this car because it's the only one, and we understood that it was a racing car. If this
well, yeah,
was,
it's like when I was in Japan and I bought the Yanko, the Lawman, and the
yeah,
Z28 back to back. I mean, I knew everything. I knew, well, excuse me. I knew everything about the Yanko because I'd seen it, but Bob Johnson was there. I was in Japan, and
Yeah.
it was all done over the phone. In that, I didn't bid over the phone, but I just gave him the Iggy, yes or no,
Yeah.
right?
Yeah.
And so, yeah, I mean, you do bring up an interesting point. You don't have to be at the auction by
It,
any stretch at the beginning of the week if they've got some cars that you really want to jazz on, because you can jump on the phone.
I agree, but if you're starting to buy some sort of like resto mod or something that's been a lot of custom build stuff, it does help to have somebody there or be there yourself to really kind of get underneath that car and spec that car.
Yeah, but
And
whether it's a resto mod or not, it doesn't matter what the fucking car is, man. Having somebody there, I mean, it just gives you that sense of
yeah,
security and that you're not going to get
I
boned. Because I've been there on my own and I've looked over cars and been screwed. So I mean, you just never know, and you do what you can to do your
yeah.
due diligence every single time.
You go to like a Barrett Jackson and let's say you're shopping for one of those like Eleanor replica cars. There's going to be 8 of them at Barrett Jackson, and they're wildly different. You'll see some that you're like, this car's worth 100 grand, and you'll see something like this one was done right. This is 250,000, but you'll see the gamut. And from 10 feet away, everybody's paint looks good, but that's kind of where it starts. And I'm not trying to pick on like Kevin Hart, but Kevin Hart spent a lot of money on that Corvette, uh, and then that thing had to be completely redone. I mean, it looked gorgeous
It's
under
on
the
his,
lights.
it's on him,
Yeah,
right, for not doing his due diligence. So I mean,
right.
everybody can get the wool, pulled over their eyes, no
Yeah,
matter. So I mean, I met Barrett in at Foxwoods during that Gold Rush rally. I just so happened to be there. I'd never been to a Barrett Jackson auction that wasn't in frickin' in Scottsdale.
yeah,
And um, Steve Davis is one of the Corvette gurus in the world, and there was a beautiful car that I was looking at there. I thought I had looked at it from top to bottom, and I'm on stage, and we were selling the last produced Viper ever. I
yeah.
remember it was a Dodge deal, and I went to bid, and right before I put my hand up, he looked at me and he goes, "Don't, no," and I'm like, I just looked, and that just shows you how much I don't know about a specific car, right? If it was a Mopar, then I would have been fine, but it's a Corvette, and from what I've heard, there's more 427 Corvettes on the road than were ever produced. So I mean,
Funny how that works.
it is funny how that works. Yeah.
Yeah,
But
yeah. Although you're right. I would talk to somebody about that stuff. Ken Lingenfelter's a great Corvette guy to talk to. Um, uh,
but if you
Brad,
really want to vet, then you need to bring Lingenfelter with you to be smart in your
yeah,
purchase. You really do, because the amount of money that you're going to pay ferrying him there and for his time, you will save exponentially
yeah.
by getting the right car.
Another guy who doesn't get enough credit is Brad Fanshop, my co-host on Shift and Steer. If you're talking anything like Copo, Camaro, Baldwin Motion Car, stuff like Yenko's, he's an encyclopedia about that stuff, and he's often up there with a handful of guys that are also like brokers, and of course he's up there when Michael Anthony wants to buy a car. Mikey's not doing it without Brad up there, because Brad'll tell him like this is good,
An
this is bad.
insurance policy, right? I
Yeah.
mean, especially when you're dealing with so much money and rare cars. I mean, do me a favor, ask him if he can find that 70 Corvette Phase 3 Baldwin Motion that I was looking, that I almost bought and I balked on. But
Yeah.
those Baldwin Motion cars are freaking sick.
Yeah. He's got I think he's got a Baldwin Motion
Nova.
Vega.
Oh,
Vega. Yeah. Uh that's really kind of cool and funky looking, right? Because it's not such a sports car, but still has the paint and the whole thing on it. And yeah, one of those, it's one of those cars that he's been offered money for it many times over the years
Oh yeah, I bet.
and just keeps holding it. But let me hit our Bet Online real quick. Bet Online, it's the world's most trusted betting platform and your number one source for everything online sports betting. Right now, you can receive a 50% free bet up to $250 on your first deposit to bet on anything from the Olympics to baseball to Formula One racing. Bet Online has every stat, every matchup, even live odds and spreads while the games are being played. Of course, when the game's over, head on over to the website for their online casino and get in on a game of blackjack or poker or unwind with over 150 different slot games. Again, just head to the website to get in on the action. Use promo code BELIEVE. It's BLEAV for your 50% free bet credit on your first deposit up to $250. Bet online, the game starts here.
Boom.
Yeah. um we're starting to get to that point in the summer where we're getting a bunch of car events and of course looking forward to them, but it's starting to get, it just seems like there's 50 events happening, through August
Every
alone.
weekend, yeah, I know.
Eh, and also I started looking at Monterey Car Week, which I'm going up there. It's going to be fun. Looking forward to it. Uh, uh, Adam Kroll is doing some racing. He's taking the BRE Datsun Roadster. It's the first BRE Datsun Roadster. It's been a while since he's had that out on the track, but it was he has brought it out there. Won the Rolex Cup. We always kind of joke because we don't really know what it is. It wasn't for winning first place. It's sort of like the most style award. Like you did well in the race and you look good doing it. So here's a trophy. Uh,
You're Adam Carolla.
and and it's funny because we're like, I don't know how many people have this type of trophy, but it's cool. So looking forward to getting that car out there. But
Do me a favor before I forget. Talk to Adam and see because I want to get him one of those hero covers.
oh yeah,
See which car he want one for, and
okay.
then I need to get like really good photos of the car because they will completely copy every single thing that's on that vehicle,
Yeah.
sponsorship or whatever it is.
Well, he's got all racing cars. That might be more of a challenge for those guys at Hero Cover than
No.
than anything else. But it might be interesting to see
They could do a Hurricane Rana or whatever the hell it is, the Lambo. They could do
The Lamborghini Huracan
be tough on the Porsche with the big wing, but I mean they've got some
and,
good.
and the livery because there's a lot of things going on, right? All of the
Yeah, but they
sponsors
did
and
the
yeah,
Z28. You
yeah,
know,
that's right. They did the
it's
Z28.
a Trans Am car with all the badging. So I mean, it could be done, 100%. Just figure out which one he wants, and we'll hook him up. Man, we got one on the way to Kenny Wayne Shepherd uh, today, actually, and then Fluffy. We got one delivered to Fluffy. I think the next couple of days. So
Yeah, Fluffy. He got his like '94 Mustang Cobra, and he got a wrapper car. Like it was brand new. And he shot his video of him pulling all the plastic off this thing and going, "It's my car. I do what I want." And he unwrapped it and he like drove it to Leno's garage. It had like 14 miles on it or something. He's like, "I wanted one brand new, couldn't get one new back in the day." So I bought one that nobody drove and I'm unwrapping it and I'm driving it.
more
I
power
know
to him.
people were like, "Ballsy move. You should have just collected. It's worth less." And he was just like, "I don't care. I like it. There it is." I popped into his garage not that long ago, maybe a couple of months ago. I was invited in there,
Did he
and
give you COVID?
he did not give me COVID. Actually, he wasn't even there. He couldn't make it.
Ironically, there's a '73 Volkswagen Type 2 bus up
There
on
you
the
go. That's full on
full
Gabriel
on.
Iglesias right there. He had a line of those things all lined up, and then he had like his Mustangs and his muscle cars and stuff that he enjoyed from back in the day. He's kind of, I guess, my age, so we kind of grew up with the same style of vehicles, except for maybe the VW buses. I don't have quite the affinity for them that he does, but
Many people
he's got a cool collection of cars, and I'm glad he enjoys them.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
Uh, so the word around Monterey is Monterey might be getting a little bit to the point where, like, obviously it's sort of regarded as an affluent event. The most expensive cars, some of the most expensive cars at auction. The track is curated. The cars have to have history. They go through a committee. Something like 2,000 cars, over 2,000 cars get submitted every year to race, and they pick 550. So it really is kind of the best of the best. You can't just sign up. Adam was saying like the track fees are a lot more expensive. The Quail, which is a great event we like going to, you submit to buy a ticket and it's a lottery system. That way everybody gets a fair chance. I remember years ago when we started going, those tickets were like 600 bucks. And you go in and it's this great curated car show. Gordon McCall would do it. It's got a theme or two or three themes, rally car or something like that. And then the whole thing is just like food and wine, tents popped up, and it's kind of an all you can eat. Like you buy the ticket, you enjoy the car show. It's the coolest thing.
What's
Um,
that ticket now?
it's about 2,200 bucks.
Crazy.
It's I mean, it's really kind of everything's just kind of gotten expensive. And we know somebody up there and we rent the house. We kind of Airbnb the house. Um, but to be fair, like I don't go on the Airbnb and do it. I mean, I think maybe we found it that way years ago, but we just know the owner, and I don't know if he regularly Airbnbs it. So he just would just call him up or text him like, "Hey, we're gonna come up," and we pay, and it's not cheap, but we do it. But the hotels now are, I've been hearing like they sell out every year, so they're just going, we're just going to keep raising the price and see if people will pay, and people are paying it. But it's kind of weird. Like I I get that it's there's a lot of sort of affluent events going on, but the ticket to get in the door to these events wasn't that way, and it shouldn't be that way. I get
Because
the
it
Quail
excludes
is,
so many people. That's the problem.
yeah, uh, here's the thing, it's like you got to go to the track, because you'll see the coolest cars being raced. If you go to, the Concorso Italiano or the exotics on Cannery Row, which I forgot where they changed it to, all cool events. You see crazy supercars and Kona's eggs and all kinds of stuff just on the road. But if you're going to be up there, swing by the track on a Saturday and kind of just see some of the most expensive, most storied racing cars at the track, and I think you can still get there for 50 bucks. That's not the issue. I do appreciate that. The problem is if you don't live within driving distance, I don't know where you stay. I don't know what you do. Like even the camping grounds have seemed to have gotten really expensive.
I'm
Uh
glad you brought that up because I have to make my reservation for Roadkill Nights my accommodation. So thank you for reminding.
that there you go. Yeah. So there's another event, and that's Roadkill Nights is the weekend before Woodward Dream Cruise, which happens during Monterey. And I'm still confused why everybody's sort of competing for that weekend, because I'd like to do both events.
But
Roadkill
in
Nights
all
would be fun.
honesty, the people that are going for the Woodward Dream Cruise are not the people that are going to be going to the Quail.
Yes, by and large, absolutely. But every year I ask some people like Ken Ligefelder going to Monterey this year. He's like, I gotta go Woodward. I gotta do Woodward Dream Cruise. That's his audience, right? That's
Yeah.
even as a business, that's his audience. So of all the events that I see that guy at, I don't see him in Monterey. It's the one event I don't see him in Monterey. So you're gonna be there, Roadkill Nights, August 10th, Saturday, August 10th.
Yeah,
I
I'll
know
be there Friday too. I get in, in the early evening, and then we go straight from the airport to a burnout contest. I'm
okay.
crossing my fingers that they supply me with a car. I wouldn't if I were them because I'm going to blow it up. But you want some good video, then give me a car. So we'll see what happens. But Saturday, at the M1 concourse, I'll be floating around with Kate all day, signing and doing God knows what. So yeah, I'm looking forward to it.
Yeah, Kate from Dodge. She's going to be shuffling you around
Yeah,
and
as long as they don't have us driving around in a Hornet, I'll be happy.
yeah. I listen, they might just put you in the golf cart and have her drive you around. Last time we were up there, I think that's what she did. And we,
Yeah.
although we got a good tour of that place, that was fun to see, and that's kind of walked into a few of their like condo facilities that some people owned already, but it was cool to see that. So all right, so you're going to be up August 10th would be the big day. You'll be at Roadkill Nights, so people can come up and see that. Um, and then the following weekend, I guess, uh, I'll be in Monterey. Adam Carolla be up there with Monterey. I believe he's racing the car. So they also spread out the practice and qualifying racing sessions. It used to be like you'd go on a Friday morning, get your practice session Friday afternoon for this particular run group, the run group he was normally in. Friday morning practice, Friday afternoon qualifying, Saturday you do your race. But now it's like Wednesday, Thursday, Friday, practice, 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 qualifying. So we're probably not going to be there Wednesday morning. He'll probably be in the car Thursday morning during practice. Friday morning, I guess, is a practice or a qualifying. And then we'll probably go to the quail. And then we'll be at the track most of the day Saturday. So if you guys can come up and find us, we'll be in the tiny Datsun section because he's driving the little tiny BRE Datsun Roadster. It's not one of the big cars. It's not the Porsche 935, but it's a cool piece to see, and it'd be fun to have it kind of going through it again and getting it kind of race prepped and even putting it on the dyno just to kind of dial it in the little things because that's such a competitive group, but just the horns on the carbs, adjusting the length of those to maximize the amount of power and for that track gearing and all that stuff. It's kind of getting dialed in. So I told Adam, it's like, hey, then you have no excuses. You set the car to get worked on. You've got no excuses while you're out there. So
Well, at least you
that'll
got
be
a
fun to see.
baseline because he's done it before.
Yeah, so obviously done the track a lot. It's been on the track with that car. And certainly more of a momentum car than anything else. He's been out there in some fast cars. It just thought it would be fun to change the run groups and run that car because it's been years. He's been getting into the turbo cars and the Porsche
Not a
935.
stress fit.
Yeah, yeah. But he's, you know, I, even when Pete Brock and the guys and uh when they're all little guys, and Adam, I don't know, he's 6'2". He's kind of like, I mean, he doesn't have the shoulders, but so that's a roadster. We had to add years ago, we added another sort of bubble of roll bar above because if he was going to race it, we had to take the roll bar and then add another because his head was higher than the rest. And it doesn't really have a windshield. It has like a little bit of plexiglass, like just enough to kind of divert the air. So if you see pictures of him on the track running this thing, it's just a dude popping out the top of this thing.
It's like he's
Um,
wearing.
yeah. Uh, it'll it'll be, I don't know if I have any video of it, but there's got to be images. Yeah. Here, I'll share this for you guys on YouTube real quick. This comes up, but so you can see the car. This is the car, the BRE Roadster. And you
Yeah,
can see Adam in it and see the little bump with the headrest.
yeah, it's like me fitting in an MG.
Yeah, it really kind of is. And so you got to take a look at this air dam in the front, this like splitter in the front, and off to the sides, down in this area, it's got a little bit of a splitter effect to it. And you guys might remember the story from a while ago, but Pete Brock came over to the shop years ago to drop off the trailer, the AeroVault trailer, and and he popped in and he was looking at the car and he's always got stories and he's like, see that splitter on that car? He goes, you weren't allowed to run any sort of splitter. He goes, so I designed it with these brake ducts in it. And I told him, I was like, no, we're adding brake cooling ducts to the car. And it worked and it performed well and they won. And he goes, the next season, everybody showed up with brake ducts on the front of the car. And I go, yeah, because you added some aero to it. He's like, yeah, it totally works. So anyway, that'll be cool. That'll be a cool event. Looking forward to that. Um, what else can we look forward to at Monterey Car Week? There's going to be some debuts. You mentioned the the Huracan Lamborghini a while ago. There's going to be a new version of that. I don't know what they're going to call it. I think it's going to be some sort of hybrid or plug-in hybrid powertrain, but that should be debuted out there. That'll be kind of cool to see. That was such a big seller for them. You think about what Lamborghini was doing, and then for years, this was their bread and butter. Now the SUV makes a lot of money for them.
Why wouldn't you debut it at Goodwood
You know,
like
that's a
everyone
good
else?
question. I actually don't know if it was at Goodwood. It might have been. So let's just say US debuts of any cars that we're going to mention. Well, US debuts. A little birdie told me Lincoln's going to have something out there. We're probably going to be out with them on Pebble Beach. There's going to be a couple of cars from Pininfarina, and I think they did the Batista a year ago, which they're going to be bringing back, or maybe some revision to it. But they have one called the Bruce Wayne, the Bruce Wayne B95, and I there's a couple images online. I'm not exactly sure how accurate these are, but this is what this is supposed to look like. This is Car Magazine seemed to have an image, or at least a rendering for it, but they were kind of recapping what was going on out there. So that's kind of interesting. Now I spoke to their PR people just yesterday, and they're saying, come to the Quail, come to the booth, come get a walk around of this car, grab an interview with their boss, either their CEO or their design chief. I don't know if I'll have time to record that, but if not, we'll probably reach out to them and have them on the show. Uh,
I gotta make a statement.
yeah,
It's like we closed our eyes and opened them, and there were 50 different supercar manufacturers that just popped up out of nowhere.
yeah.
I'm not going to bitch and moan by any means, because it sweetens the pot for everybody and it gives you more choices. But Jesus Christ, how do you pick one over the other?
I I I agree, and you're right, and you're talking about the turnkey supercar manufacturers like the Rimac and Koenigsegg and now Pininfarina, which was a design house, is doing turnkey cars, and Zinger that we talked to those guys, and uh
And how many of them are you not mentioning? There's got to be 50 that we don't know about offhand. I mean, it's just amazing that these people get funded and they can pull, 2,000 horsepower supercars out of their ass. I mean, I don't get it. I really don't. But
yeah, and there's another category. Actually, let's do this before I forget.
hypercar.
Yeah, let's take a quick break. We'll be right back. Okay. So the the other category I was thinking of these supercars is the turnkey sort of resto mod modified versions. Of course, we have Singer, and we have Rod Emery's Porsches and Icon Broncos, but another car that we're going to see up at Monterey is this company called Eccentrica, and they do. I, I don't like saying the Singer of whatever, but it's their version of the Diablo. And they're doing this crazy modern, over the top version of the Lamborghini, and this is their website. You can kind of see what they're doing, but just the front, everything is just kind of refined. The edges, the lines, the gaps, everything's kind of cleaned up on the car. I'm sure they're doing something on the interior as well, but I'm interested to see this car in person, and I don't know much else about it. They sent me some the press release about it, but I guess, we get all the details more when this thing gets debuted over there, and it's cool looking, but, I again, another conversation to have with, somebody here on the show is why pick the Diablo? What did you do to it? What are these things gonna cost? Who do you think your customer base is? Are you gonna make enough of them? It's they're saying 600 horsepower. Obviously, it's still the V12 engine, naturally
Price.
aspirated. Uh, but just I don't know if these are just all renderings or they actually photograph something. These days, it's so tough to tell, but I believe these are photographs. Uh, yeah, it's cool. It looks cool, but you're right. Another version of this, not just the startup supercar, but the the turnkey Restomod version, if you will.
And I'm not complaining by any stretch of imagination. Believe me, I'm not. So don't get me wrong. But how the fudge do you decide? There's so many cool things out there, whether it be hybrid technology, whether it be like you're talking about with the Diablo being reimagined,
Yeah.
or whether it be the supercars. That freaking unbelievable. It's just unreal. I mean, hey, it's a wonderful time for guys like me. Well, guys like us. Um, it's just wow. How do you pick?
Yeah, totally agree.
Car,
You know?
the T50.
Yeah.
How's I mean, there's just so many options out there, and they're all cool. It seems like. Look at this Bruce Wayne that you just showed me.
Yeah.
That car's beautiful.
Yeah, that car is kinda crazy. Now, Cadillac's got one that they're debuting. This is a concept car. I can't say that I like the color, but the car itself is kind of, uh, interesting, and I believe this
Yeah.
concept is all electric.
No, thank
Um,
you.
the Soleil, I believe it is.
It's like a
Yeah.
big Bentley or a big Rolls.
Yeah, it is. It's a big four-seat convertible. I'm sure
We'll
it's
see how quickly the price goes down on it when somebody drives it off the lot. If it's an all electric car.
yeah, that's true. Now I don't know if this is just
Mercedes,
sort of a design exercise for them or if this is going to be something that they may sell. I don't think it's going to be something that they sell. I want to say Genesis did one like this at the auto show. Maybe it was last year. I don't believe it was all electric. I'd have to go back and check because I'm just going off memory here. But that thing was gorgeous. That thing was really nice.
there's some great.
Um, what was that thing? I don't remember. I'd have to go back and kind of see if I can find what that was, but I thought it was a Roadster. I thought it was a big Roadster convertible or something like that that they did. I I I have photos of it someplace, but the quick like Google search brought up this image. And obviously, as a concept car, don't need much in the way of side mirrors or door handles, but a really cool looking wheel design when I saw it in person was very cool. And this car was big as well. But yeah, it's a cool design exercise, this car, for Genesis. And I think a lot of this design is, as we're already seeing, where it's trickling down into their production cars.
Yeah, and that blows away the styling on that caddy, if you ask
I
me.
think so too. Yeah, I think so too. And I saw this concept in person and it was cool looking. I guess here's one
Thing's beautiful, I
from the
think.
back. Yeah, this thing's really cool. But yeah, totally agree. I mean, I guess we are, living in an interesting time. Obviously, all of these limited production things, yes, it takes an incredible amount of funding to put these types of businesses together, and then an incredible amount of money to be able to purchase any of these cars. It's and it may seem like it's unfair because so many of these are so unattainable, but you know, if it's not $1 million car, like I don't even know how you make money off of it when you're doing these ground up things. I don't know what that Lamborghini is going to cost, the Eccentrica. Uh, but you're already starting with something that has a high value. You know, you're
Yeah,
not
and
starting with a
I mean,
$15,000 car.
how are they going to sell enough of those unless it was strategically planned out to where it falls under another umbrella? To just, I mean, they don't have to do everything that you have to do prior to coming up with a brand new car by any means. But so I guess that's a different scenario. But I don't see how these companies make money.
Yeah. And look at how many different companies around the country now are doing sort of the turnkey, reimagined or restored version of something like the Ford Bronco, right? Like Icon, I feel like kind of started it, but there's, first of all, you go to Barrett Jackson, there's 30 Broncos, maybe 50 Broncos from 50 grand to $300,000, or more. There's the gamut of quality and stuff out there, but there's quite a few that are expensive. And these companies, this is their business. So like, we need to turn out, 3, 4 of these a month, and every month they're bringing in new ones to get out to customers, and turnkey Mustangs and things like that. Like it's a heck of a business. I didn't know you would get so many of them popping up, and they all seem to be thriving. They all seem to be
They
doing
do.
well.
That's
So
so amazing.
I guess it's a way to get now the things like the Broncos, depending on who you're buying it from, is much more affordable than, a Singer, you
Oh
know.
yeah, yeah.
Uh and by the way, the Singer is probably still more affordable than like the Zinger or something. What were they selling those cars for? 1.5 million or something?
God, yes, I would
Yeah.
imagine.
Yeah. 1.5 or 2 million bucks or something like that. So, if you find a Bronco and you're like, oh yeah, this is really nice. It's high end. It's 250 grand. And we're like, yeah, it's a lot of money for a Bronco, but compared to the cost of some of the other things that are out there, it seems
Right.
relatively inexpensive. Yeah. What was that Zinger? I think it's about 2 million. I think the base price is 2 million on the Zinger. Uh, and can go up from there. I think they get up to 2.8 or 3 million bucks. Um, but you pointed out last week that thing scooted up the hill climb at Goodwood.
I'm ready to.
They were setting records up there, and I'm sure we're going to see them up at the Quail as well, and maybe at Pebble Beach at the lawn there. But all right, I think we're kind of running out of time for today. What do you say we wrap things up and
You won't. You
let
won't.
you
You
ice
won't.
the neck?
If I get to go more, get to refill my ice pack.
Yeah, ice your neck, and yeah, you got to take it easy,
Butter
buddy.
down. Ah. Anyway, that's what
Yeah.
happens when you get old.
All right, guys. Thanks so much for listening, and we'll catch you next week. Until next time, keep the air in the spare, and the bag in the wheel.
See you.